All right, welcome. If you've ever been curious about that powerful world humming just beneath the shiny icons on your screen, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're taking our very first steps into Unix, and we're going to learn how to master the command line. And to really get why this is so important, we kind of have to go back in time a little bit. So think about this for a second. We're so used to these fancy code editors with all the colors and buttons and menus. But what about the pioneers? How did they build the very foundations of the software we use every single day without all the flashy stuff we have now? Well, the answer is they worked right there in the heart of the machine. They used these incredibly powerful, super efficient text-based tools. For them, the command line wasn't some kind of limitation. No, it was a canvas. It was this direct line right into the computer's brain, where they could build entire worlds of code with nothing but a keyboard. Okay, so here's our game plan to get you started on that canvas. We're going to kick things off with a classic Unix editor called V and its two special modes. Then we'll get into the real building blocks of any script. That's variables and operators, before we put it all together and write your very first program. It's going to be fun. First things first, if you want to write anything at all on the command line, whether it's a simple little note or a super complex script, you need an editor. And in the world of Unix, there's one editor that's like the original legend. And that would be the Vim editor. It's basically a full-screen textual interface that lets you create and play around with text files. Now, don't let its simple look fool you for a second. Vim is incredibly powerful and lightning fast once you get the hang of it. It's the classic foundational tool that you'll find on pretty much every Unix-like system out there. Okay, now this is the part that usually trips people up at first. But trust me, it's also where all of Vi's magic comes from. Think of it like a secret handshake. Once you learn it, you're in the club. You see, Vi operates in two totally different modes. So when you first fire up Vim, you land in what's called command mode. This is your home base for moving around, deleting stuff, copying, pasting, all the management tasks. You don't actually type your text here. To do that, you press the I key, which puts you into insert mode. This is where you write. Then, when you're done typing, you just hit the escape key to go right back to command mode. It's that simple. Command mode is for moving the canvas around, and insert mode is for actually painting on it. All right, so we get the two modes, right? Now let's learn a few of the basic words, the actual commands that make Vi work. These are going to be your bread and butter for getting things done inside the editor. See, the whole point of V is to be super efficient. Notice how H, J, K, and L let you move the cursor around without ever having to take your hands off the main part of the keyboard. So good. Need to start typing? Just hit I. Make a mistake? Pop back to command mode, move over, and tap X to zap a single character, or DD to delete the whole line. And look, the two you absolutely have to remember are down at the bottom. WQ to write or save and quit, and your emergency exit, QI to just quit without saving any changes. Okay, awesome. So we've got our canvas and our brush. That's the Vim editor. But what are we going to paint with? Well, the most fundamental building block of any program or script you'll ever write is something called a variable. So what exactly is a variable? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is just a named container. It's like a box. Imagine you take a box, you slap a label on it that says greeting, and inside that box you put a piece of paper that says hello world. Well, in coding, greeting is the variable's name, and hello world is its value. It just lets us store information and refer to it by a simple name. Now, of course, there are a few rules for naming these boxes. They've got to start with a letter, they can have other letters, numbers, and the underscore character in them. And this one's a biggie, they are case sensitive. So a variable named name, all in lowercase, is totally different from one named NAME in all caps. They're just simple rules to keep everything nice and organized. Okay, so we've got our containers, our variables, but how do we actually do stuff with what's inside them? Well, for that, we need operators. You can think of these as the action words, the verbs of your script. Let's just start with the basics, your everyday math. You'll recognize most of these, right? Plus for addition, minus for subtraction, the slash for division. In scripting, the little asterisk is used for multiplication. And that percent sign, that might look a little weird. It's called modulus, but all it does is give you the remainder from a division. Super useful. These are the tools that let your scripts actually calculate things. All right, this is it. We've talked about the editor, we've talked about variables, we've talked about operators. Now it is time to put it all together and write our very first honest-to-goodness shell script. You know, every single programmer out there, no matter how amazing they are now, started right where you are, with that very first step. And in the world of programming, that first step is always making the computer say hello to the world. Here are the exact steps. It's so easy. First, you open Vim and give your script a name. Then you hit I for insert mode and just type echo hello world. That echo command just means, hey, print this to the screen. After that, hit escape, type WQ to save and quit. Then comes this really crucial step, chmod plus X. See, when you create a file, the computer just sees it as a boring old text file. This command basically flips a switch and tells the system, hey, this isn't just text, this is a program. You can run this. It makes it executable. And finally, you run it and you will see Hello World pop up on your screen. And boom, just like that, you're programming. Seriously, it might feel like a tiny step, but you just told the computer what to do and it listened. That's the fundamental magic of coding. That's the whole game, right there. You've just done it. So, what's next? I mean, where do you go from here? Well, instead of your program just talking to the world, what if you could have the world talk back? The next logical step is learning a command called read, which lets your script actually pause and wait for the user to type something in. And that makes your programs interactive, and it opens up a whole new universe of what you can build. Okay, so before we wrap up, let's do a super quick recap of the most important stuff. First, Vim has two modes: command mode for moving around and managing things, and insert mode for typing. Second, variables are just your labeled boxes for storing data. Third, operators are the verbs. They're what let you do things with that data. And finally, remember, chmod. That's the magic command that turns your simple text file into a runnable program. So there you have it. You've taken that first, most important step. You've proven that you can command the machine. The only real question left is, what do you want to tell it to do next? What problem are you going to solve? What are you going to build? The command line is all yours.